All right, good afternoon, and thanks for having me here. They say you can tell how important your presentation is by how close it is to lunch. And if I'm told that lunch is within the next hour, then I've gotten a fair idea that this is not one of the most critical presentations. They've also told me that I should spend no more than 20 minutes. So I have rewritten my presentation, and instead of focusing on equal citizenship as advertised, I'm going to simply talk about come home, plural citizens, but stay away from the 27 forbidden fruits. In terms of the presentation itself, I'll do 5 things quickly because there's no time. First, I want to talk about the ABC of plural citizenship because as I sat there this morning listening to various people, they made statements which I believe are incorrect and which I need to correct and clarify. Second, I need to talk about the ABC of exclusions. Then I'll talk about the ABC of why the exclusions are not rooted in law. In other words, people are asked to give up their dual citizenship in order, for instance, to run for MP. I'm going to argue that I can't find that in the laws of Ghana. I can't find that in the Constitution of Ghana. Then, because this is close to lunch, and I know several of you are drifting away, I'm going to give a quiz. So be sure you are paying attention. And then last, I'll invite you to sing with me something that I've written or something that I've copied from Shatawale. It's called the Plural Citizen Song. So those are the 5 things that I'm going to be doing with you. First, let me say that plural citizenship arises because there is no common international law relating to citizenship. Each country has its own citizenship laws, and one country cannot stop another from defining who a citizen is. In consequence, plural citizenship is here to stay, and we better get used to it. Why does it arise? Well, it arises because there are at least 2 broad ways of acquiring citizenship. One is citizenship can be acquired at birth, and 2, citizenship can be acquired by naturalization. With respect to citizenship at birth, there are 2 theories. One theory says when you are coming to the world, the blood that brought you will determine where you are a citizen of, the country that you are a citizen of. Another, which over here I denote as jus soli, that is territorial citizenship. If you are born on the soil of a particular country, that particular country can say you are their citizen, whether or not your parents like it, whether or not the child who likes it. So for instance, if you are on a flight to the United States of America and you get there and you are in transit, you are pregnant and you deliver, the child is an American citizen. You tell the American government, oh, I don't want my child to be an American citizen. They say, well, tough luck. You have no control over that. And so just by reason of traveling, you've created a dual citizen. And you can see then that quite apart from the citizenship that is acquired at birth, there's also subsequent to birth, what I'm calling here naturalization. You can become the citizen of another country by marriage, by investment, by professional achievement, by religious beliefs, by adoption, sometimes even when a child is found in a country. So for instance, in Ghana, if we find a child who is not a citizen of Ghana, but is under the age of 16, and we can't find his parents, well, the child becomes a citizen of Ghana. And obviously, he was a citizen of some other country before he was found. So bottom line, where's the technician? Your thing doesn't work.
Can I get some help here? Thank you. All right, so it's supposed to go this way. Can you slide it this way?
Yeah, try it, but it didn't work.
Ooh, okay. Let's see.
It froze, I think.
Okay. It's gone? All right, let's see.
So,
yeah, it goes down.
So, let's get used to it, because I'm saying over here, as long as Ghanaians are traveling, they are marrying people from other countries, they are investing, they are achieving professionally, they are adopting, and so on and so forth, there will be plural citizenship. Now, let me also clarify something. Whenever you mention plural citizenship, the first thing that comes to people's mind is the diaspora. Wrong. Every day, dual citizens are born here right in Ghana, right in Accra, right in Aflao, right in Tamale. Because remember the definition. If you are a Ghanaian, married to a Nigerian, and you give birth, the child at birth is a dual citizen. So that is important. Now, let me also clarify citizenship in general, because there's some confusion about that. And on that, I want to talk about 5 things. First, citizenship is status. But more important, why do I want to be a Ghanaian? Why do I want to be a Ghanaian? If I live in Ghana and I'm not a Ghanaian, what is the big deal? The big deal is citizens have some rights that non-citizens don't have. And so if you create a citizen and you take away those rights, basically you've created a big problem. One cannot decouple certain rights from citizenship. Otherwise, the citizenship has no meaning at all. Then I'll talk about duties. I'll talk about allegiance, because this is a word that is in the Constitution which nobody understands. And because nobody understands that, they've cancelled the allegiance out and they've replaced it with citizen. That is not how you read a constitution. In the Constitution, there's the word citizen and there's the word allegiance. If the people who wrote the Constitution thought citizen and allegiance were the same, they wouldn't have used different words. So I want to talk about allegiance. Oh, here we go, I got it. Then I will also distinguish between citizenship and nationality, because they are not the same thing. You could be a citizen of Ghana, but not a national of Ghana. And you could be a national of Ghana, but a citizen of another country. So I want to clarify the distinction between citizenship and nationality. Then I'll talk about 2 big things. Natural-born Ghanaians, Ghanaians who are born as Ghanaians, why do they go somewhere to acquire the citizenship of another country? And when they come back, why don't they do the simple thing if they want to hold public office? Why don't they renounce their other citizenship? I always hear people asking that question. Today, I'm going to show you why they cannot do that, why they must not do that, why anyone who does that has disappointed the cause. I don't know whether you can see this very well, but on there, I've said that when you look at the Constitution, Constitution chapter 5 talks about citizenship. But if you read the Constitution and you limit yourself to chapter 5, you would miss something extremely important. Rather, you should read other chapters to find out everywhere the word citizen appears. And when you do that, what happened? You would then have to think of citizenship as 2 things. First, status, and then second, rights. And so, in terms of status, we've already said one can become a citizen of Ghana at birth or some other way, naturalization. For people who are citizens at birth, they are either single citizens or mono citizens, or at birth, they are dual citizens. You can have people who at birth are dual citizens. And then for the single citizens, they can travel, or even if they don't travel, they can be right here in Ghana and acquire the citizenship of another country. These guys are what I'm going to call emigrant dual citizens, or if you want a quick name, these are the ones I'm going to call the Adishia runaways, the Adishia runaways. Then you would see then that on the other section, I have the what of citizenship. Under that, there are some rights, and then there are some duties. So let's look at those rights, let's look at those duties, because they are very important. They are an integral part of citizenship. The Constitution says the most important right that a citizen can have is political participation. If you cannot participate fully in the politics of the country, you might as well not be called a citizen. So what is at the heart of political participation? At the heart of political participation is the right to vote, Article 42. But what exactly is inherent in the right to vote? Inherent in the right to vote is the right to be registered. But more important is also the right to be voted for. If you have the right to vote for somebody, but not the right to be voted for, then you are not a citizen, you are something else. You are something else. And then you would see that I list a whole bunch of other things that citizens can do that non-citizens cannot do. So for instance, only citizens can be freehold landowners. Only citizens can confer citizenship on other people. A citizen can marry, and as a result of that marriage, the wife can or the husband can become a citizen. A citizen of Ghana is guaranteed free entry into the country anytime he shows up at the port. So when you show up at the port and you say, well, you're a Ghanaian, yes, but you are also a Canadian, therefore show me something else and or I'll take you back to Canada. That's all wrong. You can't do that. Because the Constitution itself says anytime a Ghanaian shows up at any port, he has free entry, as long as he can prove that he is a Ghanaian. As long as he can prove that he's a Ghanaian. Then, of course, if you have some rights, then you have some duties. What are those duties? Well, you have a duty to defend the Constitution. You have a duty to restore the Constitution if it's overthrown. And you are immunized if you defend and then restore the Constitution. Now then, we see, therefore, that when we think in terms of status and rights, the Constitution does something that is very clever, but that is very nuanced, that most people don't see. First, with respect to who, status, that is a non-entrenched provision. What does it mean to say that it's a non-entrenched provision? It simply means 2/3 majority of parliament can create a new class of citizens. So parliament can just get up and say, well, if you are a good soccer player, you become a citizen of Ghana. That's okay. That's okay. They don't need anything more than the 2/3 majority. But then there is what I call the rights, the political rights. Those, my friends, are entrenched. That basically means even if all parliamentarians got together and said, we are going to isolate citizens that live on the border, or dual citizens, or citizens who are religious, and we are not going to allow them to vote. We are going to deny them space in the political arena. The Constitution says, you can't do that, even if all of you want to do that. The only way you can do that is via a referendum. That is very important. It is the entrenched right. And this will become very important, my friends, because I'll show you that Parliament has created a class of citizens and have taken rights from them. Parliament cannot do that because that can only be done by referendum. By conflating status and rights, Parliament created a class of citizens that the Constitution itself does not allow. Now, let me distinguish between citizenship versus nationality, because sometimes people confuse the two things. Now, let's note that if you are a citizen at birth, then you are also a national of the country. If you are a citizen at birth, then you are also a national of the country. What does it mean to be a national versus a citizen? Well, nationality is cultural. Nationality is cultural. Ghanaians have our cultural ways. Citizenship is legal. Citizenship is legal. The Constitution says I'm a citizen, therefore I have some rights and duties. So I can be a Ghanaian citizen, but not a Ghanaian national. Let's say I come from China, and when I came from China, I married a Ghanaian. As a result of marrying that Ghanaian, I can become a Chinese Ghanaian. Even though I'm now a Ghanaian citizen, I'm not a Ghanaian national, because Ghanaian nationality can only be determined at birth. It's a one-time call. So nationality is cultural. Nationality is not juridical. That's a big word, which means it's not something that you can go to the court to argue about. Only nationals owe allegiance under what I'm going to call common law, under Blackstone. If you read a guy by the name of Blackstone, he believes that only nationals owe allegiance. So when we have allegiance in our Constitution, we are really not talking about citizens, we are talking about something else. And then, if you are a citizen who is also a national, the High Court cannot deprive you of your citizenship. Your citizenship is guaranteed for life. Now, let's talk about the other people who are citizens but are not nationals. Those are non-nationals. And remember, a non-national may not have any cultural connection with Ghana. So for instance, you can see a non-national and you'll be talking about Black Star and Baba Yara and Polo, and he says, what the heck are you talking about? I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about baseball. He doesn't share that cultural phenomenon with us. Non-nationals, their citizenship is strictly juridical. It's only by law that they are citizens, but they don't have any affinity towards Ghana. Their allegiance is not to Ghana, it is to their birthplace. So my friend that I was talking about from China, his or her allegiance is not to Ghana, it's to China, it's to his or her motherland. And then the High Court can deprive him of his citizenship. The High Court can deprive him of his citizenship. I like to think in terms of non-nationals who are citizens. I call them Yabroni. And nationals who have become the citizens of other countries, I already told you, those are called the Adishia runaways. So let's keep that distinction, the Yabronis versus the Adishia runaways. Then, let's summarize the distinction between citizenship versus nationality. You can have plural citizenship, but you can only have single nationality. Nationality is defined by your motherland. It's defined by your motherland. In this regard, nationality can be likened to a biological mother, while citizenship can be likened, the married people here are not going to like me very much, but I'm going to say this. Citizenship can be likened to a spouse. You can always get a new spouse. You can always get a new citizenship, but you can never have a new nationality. So Yabroni, though Ghanaian, has an unseverable motherland distinct from Ghana. And Odishia runaway, though now a citizen of another country, has Ghana as his or her unseverable motherland. He's hooked for life He's hooked for life. Now, why is my friend, the audition runaway, acquiring the citizenship of another country? I give 5 reasons, but there are many more. One, sometimes if you live in a country and you are a permanent resident of the country, the political winds may attack your residence. So for instance, many of you may have heard of Donald Trump, and he's a little anti, let's say, immigrants. And so you are worried that he's going to implement some policies that may affect you, so you quickly convert your residence to citizenship. Or sometimes to become eligible for certain positions or certain grants in the country, you have to become a citizen. Sometimes to facilitate travels for positions that require frequent travel. So sometimes you may go to Europe to present a paper, and while there you have to go to England, you have to go to Scotland, you have to go to Norway, you have to go to Denmark, you have to go to Netherlands. If you try to get visas for each of those countries, it can drive you nuts. Sometimes you acquire it involuntarily. Look at Austria, a country like Austria, prior to 2003, in order to become a full professor in Austria, you had to be a citizen of Austria. So your position gives you that citizenship. And then sometimes you want to safeguard your property interests because you have homes, you have a pension, you have healthcare benefits. I only have 5 minutes. Are you guys okay with me stopping this presentation that I'm giving? I can stop anytime you want, but they're going to eat you up. You see, you made them listening to all kinds of things, and now that I'm talking about what benefits them, you say I should stop. I'm not going to stop. Now, I know many Ghanaians who acquire the citizenship of another country. I can guarantee that very few of them think about allegiance when they are acquiring that citizenship. Allegiance, what does it even mean? It has no meaning to them. It has no meaning to them. And then, why not renounce your citizenship? Why not renounce your citizenship? Why should you renounce it? They say, well, you should renounce it because we don't trust you to hold public office. Come on, let's get serious. You don't trust me to hold public office, and as soon as I renounce my citizenship, all of a sudden you start trusting me. That's like a game. It is a ritual that does nothing. It only makes the person imposing the penalty happy about nothing. This is the typical pull him down or pull her down mentality. Renouncing your citizenship does nothing. You are the same person. If you had bad motives before, you are going to have bad motives after. If you had good motives before, you are going to have good motives after. So let's stop talking about that. Second, most people don't realize that when they say you should renounce your citizenship, they are also asking you to renounce your residence, because countries do not give a separate permanent resident card and a separate citizenship card. You hold the permanent resident and you convert it to citizenship. So when you renounce your citizenship, you've renounced your residence. Now, when you are done, you want to come and serve for 4 years in Ghana. You are done serving for 4 years, you want to go back. You can't go back because you are not resident there, you are not a citizen there. You have to go and get visa again, and that visa may be denied. If that visa is denied, it puts all your assets in that foreign country at risk. Third, it could lead to the loss of your investment. It could lead to the loss of your profession. It could lead to the loss of your social security. It could lead to a loss of a lot of entitlements. Finally, it requires the really, in my mind, heart-wrenching thing of asking someone who has been born a dual citizen, choose between your father or your mother. We should never put anyone through that mental torture. We should never put anyone through mental torture. Notice that we never ask residents who want to come and serve to give up their residence. But we are asking citizens to give up their citizenship and their residence. So that alone is some form of discrimination. That alone is some form of discrimination. So let me quickly summarize. One, dual citizenship is automatic if you are a citizen of two countries. Two, there is no need to apply for dual citizenship. That's the weirdest thing I've heard in the world. Nobody should apply for dual citizenship or single citizenship. If you are a citizen of two countries, you are automatically, by law, a dual citizen. No application is needed. Ghana cannot give you dual citizenship. Ghana can give you the citizenship of Ghana. The other country that you are coming from cannot give you dual citizenship. They can give you their citizenship. If you have two citizenships, automatically you are a dual citizen. Three, my friends, three, it is very lawful to travel with two passports. It is very lawful to travel with two passports. Anybody who tells you otherwise is just blowing hot air. They don't know what they are talking about. Each time you want to go between countries, you need two sets of documents. Either two passports, one passport and a green card, one passport and a visa. A passport is a legitimate way of traveling. Two passports are legitimate ways of traveling to two countries. Fourth, the dual citizenship card. That is optional. If you have a lot of money, you can buy it. But nobody can compel you to buy a dual citizenship card. What you can do is to get your Ghanaian passport, get your Canadian passport, get your Ghanaian passport, get your Togolese passport, and you are good to go between those two countries. The worst thing you can do is to have a Ghanaian passport and a dual citizenship card. It's completely a waste of your money. If you have the Ghanaian passport and you are planning to apply for the dual citizenship card, call me and send me that money, because you have too much money and you don't know what to do with the money. And the last point, many dual citizens live right here in Ghana. Dual citizen is not a diaspora problem. It is an opportunity in today's world where there is constant communication and travel, and labor is mobile. As many years ago, 300 years ago, you were born a Ghanaian or you were born a British and you never traveled and you died a British. Today, people travel a lot. It is very easy to travel. People are marrying without regard to what the spouse's country is. And so dual citizenship will be on the rise rather than on the decline. And that's what I will do. Now, my friends, should I go on or should I stop? Go on, yes. Aluta continued. Now, how many positions do you think they say you cannot hold if you are a plural citizen? 27, at least, 27 at least. Let me show you the positions. There are three sources of law. One is the Constitution as promulgated in 1992. Two is the Constitution as amended in 1996 by a one-party parliament. And three is it's not a constitution. Three is actually a statute. Yes, Parliament made a law in 2000 and created some more exclusions. In this presentation, the Article 94 2A restrictions are called the Allegiance Clause, and the Allegiance Clause lead to what I call Tier 1 exclusions. Then the Article A2 amended, which I'm calling the Dual Citizen Penalty Clause, that I'm going to call the Tier 2 exclusions. And then the Citizenship Act 2000 or Act 591, that I'm going to call the Tier 3 exclusions. Now you can see Article 94.2 says, a person shall not be qualified to be a member of Parliament if he owes allegiance to a country other than Ghana. Nobody understands what that means. But what you can see clearly is it doesn't talk about even a citizen. It talks about a person. Somehow, people have taken this simple language and assumed the Constitution is saying a person shall not be qualified to be an MP if he's a dual citizen. Why doesn't that make sense? Well, that doesn't make sense because if you read the 1992 Constitution, it didn't even allow dual citizens. So the Constitution, which did not allow dual citizenship, is saying a dual citizen cannot be a member of parliament. That is not correct. The only reason people are saying this is because they are not reading the Constitution carefully. I can convince a panel of people that Article 94 2A has nothing whatsoever to do with dual citizenship. Now, what are the consequences? What are the consequences? Well, the consequences is you cannot be president, you cannot be vice president, you cannot be minister of state, you cannot be deputy minister of state, you cannot be a cabinet member, you cannot be a speaker of parliament, you cannot be a member of parliament, you cannot be a member of the electoral commission, you cannot be a member of the public service commission, you cannot be a member of the NCC, you cannot be a member of the lands commission, you cannot be a member of the regional lands commission. Now look at that. You cannot find a political party, you cannot be an executive member of the political party, you cannot be a leader of a political party. So all those of you in the overseas branches, you see what they are saying? They say you cannot be an executive member of a political party. Now, let's look at the paradox here. A dual citizen can be an Asantehene, and the Asantehene owns all the land. The lands are vested in his hands. But under our laws, as incorrectly interpreted, the Asantehene cannot even sit on the Ashanti Regional Lands Commission. My friends, that is crazy. And the reason it's crazy is because they are misinterpreting it. Then, in 1996, Parliament got up. They said, well, we want to amend the Constitution. We want to allow people to become dual citizens. Good, you can do that because that is citizenship as status. But we are going to exclude them from holding some offices. No, you cannot do that because political rights are entrenched. As a result of that, they added more positions, ambassador, secretary. I'm not going to go through all that. Look at what they also said. They said a new generation of parliament does not even have to go through amendment. Parliament itself can add to the list. Parliament itself can add to the list. Justice Sophia Akufu and Rose Owusu, in a case that I sent to the Supreme Court, they said, no, Parliament cannot do that. Parliament cannot do that. The men on the court disagreed with them. The men on the court disagreed with them. In my opinion, the men are wrong. In my opinion, the men are wrong. Then, with their new power that they got under Act 527, Parliament quickly in 2000 enacted Act 591. And in Act 591, they added more things that you cannot do. But look at the most annoying thing that they added. Look at the last one. It says, the minister here is the Minister of Interior or the Minister of Foreign Affairs. The minister can the minister can just say, well, today I don't want dual citizens to be this, and that will become law. That is how low these people think of plural citizens. Fortunately, I got a very conservative Supreme Court. A Supreme Court that, by the way, they don't even allow dual citizens to serve on there. They said, no, you can't go that far. Ministers cannot do that. I'm here arguing that Parliament cannot do that by an ordinary statute. Parliament cannot do that by an amendment. The only way you can take political rights from people is to go and have a referendum. So, my friends, let me summarize. If you are a plural citizen in Ghana, you have no voice in the legislature. You cannot serve in the executive because you cannot be a minister, you cannot be a deputy minister, you cannot be president. You cannot, if you are unhappy, go to the Supreme Court. You can go there, but you cannot sit on that Supreme Court. You cannot form a political party to fight them. You cannot join an existing political party and be leader to fight them. You cannot be an executive member of a political party to fight them. You cannot hold 27 positions. Parliament can, by a simple majority, exclude you. And sadly, the Parliament and 2 Supreme Court justices think a minister can even add more positions that you are excluded from. as my friends would say, citizenship without political rights, that one will be citizenship. My friends, the status quo is not dual citizenship. It is fractional citizenship. You are a fraction. You have 3/5 of the rights of a real citizen. We are back in the days of slavery. Unfortunately, we, the plural citizens, are the new slaves. I want to stop here because I think they are very unhappy with me. But you see, I'm a Democrat. If they want me to continue, I'll continue. Do you guys want me to continue or stop? They say I should continue. They say I should continue. Okay.
Thank you very much, Professor KWAKU ASARE. Please give me the program.